Hey guys, welcome out to the range. I just finished running a video with my 7.5, and now I'm going to run a video with my 13.7. But this one isn't actually mine. Well, I mean, it is mine, but I built it for a friend, and I've not gotten them trained up on the rifle yet, so that's why it's still in my possession. But I wanted to show you guys something on this particular rifle. You could find the mags. Anyways, I'll show you first. When you're talking about setting up your rifle, or setting up your sling on your rifle, I always say make sure that your sling is as far forward and as far back as it can be. And I'm not the only one that says that. People like Pat Mac say it too, so it's really cool to see other people saying it. The reason you want that is it gives you control over the length of the gun. If you're connected, there's a trend right now where people want to hook in here and they want to hook in here, and what you end up with is this. See how easy that rifle is to manipulate? But if you hook in here and you hook in back here, there's less motion in the rifle, and that really does equate to accuracy downrange. If you're on the gun and you have connection points here and here, then the gun is dragged out in front of you and your sling isn't doing any work for you. Here, the sling is contacting me here and contacting me here, but it's also contacting the rifle here and here. So what I've essentially created is extra points of contact on the rifle within the sling itself. And because my slings have bungee in them, once you push out, right now there's tension across my back. There's tension across my forearm. And the tension is proper, it's properly aligned this way, as opposed to being hooked in here and the tension being completely out of whack because now you're hooked in this way and you're not getting that extra support to control the front of the gun. I don't know if this is making any sense to you guys, because sometimes the internet just, people make comments and they don't know what they're talking about. But your sling should always be as far forward and as far back as possible. My slings come to you, if you order, obviously, if you order it with the quick detach option, it comes to you with two heavy-duty QDs and the bungee sewn into the sling. And as you guys know, that those of you who've purchased my slings know that they come to you like this with a Ranger band holding them together. So you pull the Ranger band off, and the way it goes on is the short end versus the long end. The short end hooks to the rifle. In this case, because I'm a lefty, I hook in here on the left side, lay the rifle down, run it over the back of the stock, hook in on the front here, and then get into the gun. And if I have to adjust any, I pull one side of the tail out of the tri-glide, adjust the length where I want it, so pull in if I want it tighter, push out if I want it looser, looser, and then run the tail back through. And if you want, when you're done, you can actually take the tail of the sling and pull it out a little bit further and run it across the lighter, and you're going to be surprised at how fire resistant this webbing is. This is true mil-spec 4,000 pound rated webbing, so you're going to have to work at it, but you want to melt that end off so that the end, instead of being like this, kind of puckers and flares out a little bit, and it makes it harder for it to casually pull through that tri-glide once you're all set up. You should always have your sling set up in such a fashion that when you've got your chest rig or plate carrier on, the rifle comfortably hangs here, not doing this, and certainly not doing this. Unless you're talking about storage off to the side, then yeah, it's perfectly appropriate to kind of wang out a little bit. But you always want just a little bit of surface tension on that sling, pulling the gun against your body. That's how this sling works. Because right here the gun is stored. Here the gun is stored. But from here I can easily grab the stock, put it into my shoulder, and immediately get into the gun. And right here my sling is under tension, which is eating a lot of the tremors that we have as humans. The sling is helping control the weight of the gun, the length of the gun, when I've got it pushed out in front of me. And of course, for hard storage, you grab the stock and you push away from yourself, and the rifle sticks to your back and allows you to go hands-on with different things. And as soon as you need it, you're back on the gun. The 13.7-inch build is a gun that I've done several times, and I really like it. It's a very agile setup. If you configure the gun as a get-home gun or a bug-out gun, well, as a get-home gun, I know that I'm not alone in this, but I know that I'm one of the few who will stand in front of a camera and say it. As a get-home gun, I would probably ditch weapon lights. Right now, this one has a weapon light, just Ranger band, which is inner tube, bicycle inner tube. I've got like 4 or 5 layers of bicycle inner tube holding this light in place, and all this is a WML that I have basically skinned everything off of. The WML has an integrated clamp on it, and what I do is I cut that off, I cut that off, I belt sand it flat, I take the bail, which is the lockout bail, I take the bail off. For those that don't know, I used to work for this company, so I know how this works. This little paddle right here goes forward and allows you to have constant on. If you swing it to the rear, the light briefly turns off, and now you're in momentary only mode. Well, if the bail is taken off, then the light automatically defaults. Oh, hang on, I've got it locked out. If you take that little paddle off, the light automatically defaults to a constant on mode. The little paddle has a neodymium, there we go, a neodymium magnet. I was corrected yesterday on the pronunciation of that. Has a neodymium magnet in it, and all it's really doing is pulling the component of the light on the inside. There's a patent that I don't want to get to. There are patents on these lights, so I'm trying not to explain too much, but there's a switch on the inside, and essentially the magnet is pulling part of that switch and causing the light to be in momentary, dedicated, momentary only mode. As soon as the paddle goes forward, it moves away from that switch, and now the light defaults to constant on unless you press and hold and then release. And let's face it, no one can clear a room, nobody can clear a room that fast. So the idea is you would clear a room, you would enter a structure, and you would clear a room by sweeping and then releasing and then moving. Sweeping, releasing, and moving. And that's why I like the light in constant on mode, because you're just not going to pop in that hole. I need pops of light to control. So, rifles that are simply set up, first of all, require understanding of what the rifle is supposed to be, of what the use of the rifle is, and then that kind of informs you on the direction you're going to go with your rifle setup. But I'm into simple guns that are very lightweight, because I've spent an inordinate amount of time carrying rifles and it's misery. So I like to have guns that are very lightweight, and the 13.7 drill pin and welded is a very lightweight, very agile gun. And one of my clients routinely shoots at 400 and 500 yards, and he says this rifle delivers. And I've actually been to his training school, so I know the rifle will deliver. They're just a lot of fun. If you can get your hands on a 13.7, sorry guys, I'm not building anymore. If you can get your hands on a 13.7, it will get the job done. But like I said, this one belongs to a dear friend, and once I get them trained up on it, I will be leaving this gun with them. But today, I'm just breaking it in and getting some rounds on it, and let's go. All right, I am ready to go. Let's get loaded up and get to it. Here we go. Cold barrel shot, baby. Let's talk about the RMR in auto mode, because there are some features about it that people don't understand. It has a feature on it that allows you to set it so that it reacts to light. So right now I'm in subdued lighting. There's a target out in front of me at roughly 50 yards, roughly, and it's a 10-inch circle. And at this distance, if I look at the target, yeah, the optic is in auto mode. So if I look at the target, which I'm sorry guys, I can't show this to you, but if I look at the target, there's a bit of blooming on the optic. Blooming meaning that the dot is so bright that it's causing that effect around itself. So the dot ends up bigger than what it should be. It's still usable because I'm able to look at the target and hit the target, but the dot in and of itself is a little on the big side. If I wanted to get a fine aiming point, I would turn it down 2 clicks, and now I've got a very distinct aiming spot. But the deal is, if I go out into sudden bright light and I don't readjust this, then I'm in trouble. So I'm actually better off putting it back into auto mode and just dealing with the blooming effect. Each one of those hits is pretty much exactly where I was looking. Like that last one was off to the side as I briefly pushed the rifle at the moment of ignition, and it got the job done. 50 yards, 10-inch circle, which is essentially the middle of a man's chest, freestanding, no problem whatsoever. People spend a lot of time worrying about what their optics are doing, and they worry about them in the garage. They worry about them in the setting of the private setting, when in reality you have to get out and you have to work with your gun and work with your optic and see what it does and what you can do with it on the range, preferably outside if possible. People always complain that they can't see the targets that I'm working with, so I'm trying to get closer for you guys. That was luck. That's roughly 150 yards. All right, from here, that target is 70-ish yards. Oh, crunchy. New gun. It's very crunchy. All right, 200 yards to the hill. Ooh, ooh. Getting pushed around by the wind. Oh man, I'm getting shoved around. Yeah, that happened in high wind. Check out how close together those hits are. They're touching one another. Love it, love it. The Overland course is my favorite because it asks a lot from you. It asks stability of movement. It asks positional shooting from you. If you choose to like really work this, you can do prone, kneeling, squatting, leaning into different things. It asks situational awareness, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. It's a really good course. Okay, right now, you guys have probably already seen what the problem is. If I'm focused this way, I'm going to miss that guy. And there's a reason I put him there. Because when I'm working with students, we're focusing here. And sometimes they'll miss it. Now, of course, these got a fresh coat of paint this morning, so they're really popping and standing out against the green of spring. But typically speaking, I will have people that will just focus right up on this guy, and I'll say, by the way, someone's been targeting you from the right side. And they turn and they go, oh! So basically, here's how this goes. You're walking up, you're focusing on this guy, and all of a sudden you see this one. And then the one on the hill. That would have been awesome if I'd actually hit it the first time. There we go. I was holding too high. I love this course of fire. And of course the field expedient target. That's satisfying. Alright, come on. I need to get back up to the vehicle because I got to get out of here real quick. But I wanted to show you guys something. I'm moving at a relatively quick pace. See what the rifle's doing? Boing, boing, boing. The sling is eating that up. I'm actually not feeling that very much. The sling is eating that impact. This is why when people say to me, oh, you got to consider integrating a shoulder pad into your sling, I go, doesn't need it. And then I go, do you have one of my slings? No, well, you know, I was thinking about buying one. I mean, I've got something similar. No. If you don't have my sling, you don't have my sling. Guys, the reason my slings don't need shoulder pads is because of the bungee. The bungee's eating all that motion up. This gun's trying to abuse me, but the sling is eating up that bounce. Love it. 300 yards, never felt so short. Ooh, those are hot. As you can tell, it's high wind. Those are 3 solid hits on target at 300 yards out of what is technically a short-barreled rifle because it's a 13.7. Yeah, drilled, pin, and welded out to 16.1. However, it is still a short-barreled rifle. So, anybody tells you you can't get it done, 300 yards, like stupid easy. It's gotten that easy to deliver hits on target. All you got to do is know yourself, know your gun, know your holdovers, and have a nice day. As always, I thank you guys for watching. I thank you for your support. I thank you for your sling purchases. I thank you for your sticker purchases. By the way, these little stickers were designed specifically to fit on the side of a lower receiver. They were actually fashioned off of this PVC patch, which is coming, relax. But the stickers were designed to fit on the side of an AR-15 lower and buttstocks and everything else. But I thank you guys for your support. I thank you for your donations. That keeps this channel independent because, guys, I do all of this out of pocket for you so that I'm able to give you truth without corporate intrusion. As always, God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one.